Let me ask you something. And I don't want to hear about who you like. I don't care about your favorite politician. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care about the tweets, the rallies, the speeches. I want you to answer this one question. Just this one question. Name me one politician, red or blue, who actually improved this country. Not talked about it, not promised it, actually did something that had structural positive impact on your life long term. Not just your life, but the life of the generations that follow, on your community or the people that you love. Something you can point to and say, that right there changed things for the better. Not a slogan, make America great again, or a change you can believe in. Not a soundbite, structure, policy, real impact. Something that moved the needle forward for regular people. Take your time. I'll wait. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's the problem. We're out here going to war for people who ain't built us a thing. Now let's talk about it. Welcome back to Quote the Smoke, episode 3. And today we're talking about something that's been on my chest for a minute. You see, every time I open up my mouth and talk about politics, somebody wants to put me in a box. I say something about Trump and people hit me, "Whoa, you're just a liberal. Oh, you're so Democrat. They can do anything." When I criticize the Democrats and people say, "Oh, are you MAGA now?" Like, those are the only two options. Like, my brain can only hold one thought at a time. Like, the things in this world and in politics are black and white, or in this case, red and blue. And I'm tired of it. Tired of this idea that you got to pick a team, like this is the NBA or the NFL. This ain't basketball. This ain't football. This is your life, your money, your kid's future. And you're out here treating it like a rivalry game. So today I'm going to break down for you with no filter, no team, just the truth, at least from my perspective. And if the truth makes you uncomfortable, good. That means it's working. So let's start with the monster. And to understand the monster, you got to understand where it came from. Now, by monster, I mean the GOP, the Republican Party, or as today they are known as the maggots. Because this thing didn't just show up overnight. It was built brick by brick, decade by decade. So let me take you back. All right? Let's start with Richard Nixon. Richard Milhouse Nixon. The man who looked America in the eye and lied. But that's not even the worst part. You see, Nixon had a strategy. It was called the Southern Strategy. If you don't know anything about it, let me explain it to you. See, Nixon looked at the racist white voters in the South who were mad about the civil rights movement, mad that black people were getting rights, the rights to vote, and that desegregation was ending, that segregation was ending and desegregation had begun. He said, I want those votes. He didn't dog whistle. He picked up the bullhorn. He openly courted racists, made them feel welcome into the Republican Party. He rolled out the red carpet for hate and said, come on in. We got room. And it worked. He won. And in doing so, he planted the seed for everything we're dealing with right now. He didn't just win an election. He changed the DNA of the Republican Party. Heck, he changed the DNA of politics as we knew it. He told them hate is a strategy and it works. But it gets worse, because then came their Lord and Savior, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, the guy they put on a pedestal like he's some kind of hero. But let me tell you what that hero actually did. Reagan took what Nixon started and put it on steroids. Let's start with mental health. Reagan closed mental health facilities across the country. Just shut them down. And you know where those people went? The streets, the prisons, nowhere. He took the most vulnerable people in America and said, figure it out. And we're still dealing with that fallout today. Every time you walk past someone on the street who's talking to themselves, sleeping in the cold, in crisis with nowhere to go, that's Reagan's legacy. That's his gift to America. Oh, but then there's the war on drugs. Now listen to me closely on this one. The war on drugs was never about drugs. It was about control. It was about over-policing Black and brown communities. It was about filling up prisons with our fathers, our brothers, and our sons. They flooded our neighborhoods with crack, then locked us up for having it. That wasn't an accident. That was a blueprint. And Reagan signed off on it with a smile. Then there's AIDS. The AIDS crisis was killing people, devastating communities. And what did Reagan do? Nothing. He ignored it. People were dying, gay men, black folk, communities being wiped out, and the president of the United States acted like it wasn't happening because the people dying weren't the people he cared about. That wasn't a failure of leadership. That was a choice. And here's the one that nobody talks enough about. Reagan started the trend of the overbloated military budget. Billions and billions of dollars poured into the military while schools crumbled, while hospitals closed, while bridges fell apart. He told America that strength means tanks and missiles, not education, not healthcare, not infrastructure. Tanks. And every president after him, red and blue, kept writing that same check. So let's do the math. Nixon brought in the racist. Reagan closed the mental health facilities, weaponized the drug war against black and brown people, ignored a plague, and bankrupted the country, feeding a war machine. And the Republican Party looked at that, all of that, and said, this is who we are now. That's the foundation. That's the blueprint. Everything you see today, the extremism, the cruelty, the complete disregard for regular people, it didn't start with Trump. Trump is just the latest monster, and quite frankly, he's perfected it. But now the monster, that monster was built up a long time ago. Nixon drew the blueprint, Reagan built the house, and every GOP leader after them just added to the floor. They took the party from center-right moderates, people you could disagree with but still respect, and turned it into the semi-fascist regime we see today. That didn't happen by accident. That was the plan. And it worked. Now, before my liberal friends start clapping and sharing this episode thinking I'm on their side completely, sit down, have a seat. Want some coffee? Because the next part, it's for you. And you're not going to like it. The Democratic Party, listen to me this clearly, is a jellyfish. Translucent, spineless, no backbone whatsoever. But here's the thing about the jellyfish that makes it almost worse than the monster. At least the monster tells you what it is. The jellyfish pretends to be your friend. They pretend to be you. They take your culture, throw it in your face, and use it to get you to trust them. Perfect example. Let's start with William Clinton. Yeah, Bill Clinton, the charmer, the young, cool guy with the saxophone who went on the Arsenio Hall show and played his way into America's heart, especially us black folk. We love this man, called him the first black president. And I need you to ask yourself, why? What exactly did Bill Clinton do for black people? Because it wasn't his policies. Was it the charisma, the youth, the smile? The fact that he went on a black talk show and played an instrument? That's all it took. A saxophone solo and some charm, and we handed him our loyalty. Come on now. Because here's what your boy Bill actually did. He didn't dismantle what Reagan and Bush built. He doubled down on it. He just put a better spin on it. Smoother packaging, nice wrapping paper, same poison inside. Mass incarceration increased under Bill Clinton. Let me say that again for the people in the back. The black folks called their president locked up more black and brown people than the Republicans before him. The 1994 crime bill, 3 strikes law, mandatory minimums. He supercharged the prison pipeline that Reagan built, and black communities are still paying for it today. Oh, and let's not forget his lovely wife, Hillary, who stood in front of cameras and called black youth, children, super predators. Now, that's not a gaffe. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's how they saw us, animals to be caged. And this is the family Black America rode with. Let that sit with you for just one moment. Oh, and here's the kicker. Clinton moved the entire Democratic Party to center right. You hear that? Center right. The same old lane that the Republican Party used to occupy. So while the GOP were sprinting to the far right, Democrats didn't hold the left. They chased them. They slid right into the spot Republicans left behind and called it progress. That's not opposition. That's following. Oh, and all those deregulations Clinton pushed through, Wall Street running wild, banks doing whatever they wanted. Yeah, that was a bubble, a big, shiny bubble that everyone pretended was prosperity. And guess when it popped? Under Bush Jr., the incompetent, terrible, disastrous George W. Bush administration. But the fuse was lit under Clinton. He just wasn't around when the house exploded. So let's be clear. Bill Clinton didn't save Black America. He smiled at us, played a saxophone, and then signed the bills that destroyed our communities, and we thanked him for it. Now Barack Obama. And I'm going to be fair here because I think Obama is the best of the worst. And the reason I'm not as hard on him is because he did manage us out of the disaster that Bush left behind. The economy was in free fall, the country was in chaos, and Obama steadied the ship. Give him the credit. But let's be honest about what he was. Obama was not a leader. He was a manager. There's a difference. A leader changes the game. A manager keeps the game running. Obama kept things running. He didn't transform anything. And he told you who he was. In his own words, in an interview, Obama himself said that 20 years before he got elected, he would have been a Republican, a Reagan-era Republican. His words, not mine. Let that marinate. The great Democratic hope just told you he's ideologically closer to the man who destroyed mental health care and launched the war on drugs than he is with any real progressive movements. He galvanized the party. He energized the youth. He is a spectacular orator. He made people believe. And then what? He sold out on universal health care. The one thing that could have been his legacy, a real universal healthcare system. And instead, we got a plan that catered to private insurance companies. The same companies bleeding Americans dry every single day. Was it better than what we had? Sure. But that's low-hanging fruit. And it was only by a little. But when you're drowning and someone throws you a pool noodle instead of a life raft, yeah, it's better than nothing. But it ain't salvation. And then there's the primaries. Oh, the primaries. The last 3 Democratic primaries have been an abomination, an absolute embarrassment. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those primaries are the reason we got 2 Trump presidencies. 2! The Democrats had every opportunity to put forward someone the people actually wanted. And instead, they played politics. They played favorites. They manipulated. And the American people paid the price twice. And here's the part that really stinks. The part that nobody on the blue team wants to hear. They serve the same masters as the Republicans. The same corporations, the same lobbyists, the same donors. You can't judge a book by its cover, but you damn sure can judge a politician by who gives them money. And that same system, red and blue, they're tied together at the same table with the same meal. And we're not at that table. We never were. The monster destroys the house. The jellyfish watches it burn and writes a letter, but they both cash the same checks. So miss me with the lesser of two evils argument. I'm tired of choosing between the one that bites me and the one that watches me bleed. That's not a choice. That's a trap. So where does that leave me? Where does that leave us? The ones who can see both sides for what and who they are. I'll tell you where it leaves me. Right here, in the middle, arms crossed, glasses on, eyes wide open. Not because I don't care, because I care too much to pledge loyalty to something that doesn't deserve it. I'm a bald-headed black man with glasses living in America. I don't have the luxury of being ignorant. I don't have the privilege of not paying attention. Every policy, every law, every decision that people make, it hits me. It hits my community. It hits my family. So no, I don't want to wear a red cap. I don't wear a blue cap. I wear my glasses and I see clearly. I see a monster that wants to burn it down, and I see a jellyfish that's going to let it happen. And I refuse to choose between the two. And here's the part that's really going to make some of y'all uncomfortable. You ready? Come closer. Come closer. Come here. Come here. They don't want you to think. Either side. They don't want thinkers. They want followers. They want you loyal. They want you angry at the other side so you never look up and realize both sides are failing you. Red versus blue. That's the game. As long as you're playing it, they're winning. Not you, not me, them. The people at the top. The ones writing the rules while you argue which color is better. Heck, they might as well call them the Bloods and the Crips, right? Because that's the level of political violence, and I don't mean physical, but I mean emotional, mental, that we have going on in this country and its division. They feed your fear, they feed your rage, they feed your division, and we eat it up every day on your phone, on your TV, in your group chats. Red is evil, blue is evil, pick one, fight, repeat. And I'm sitting here like, when do we win? When do the voters win? When do the actual people, the ones working, the ones paying bills, the ones raising kids, just trying to make it, when do we get a win? Because it ain't coming from the monster and it ain't coming from the jellyfish. So maybe, just maybe, it's got to come from us. So here's what I want you to do. And I'm serious. Stop getting enough from me. And you can quote me on that. If what you heard just hit you, don't treat it like background noise. Don't scroll past it. Follow the link in the description and subscribe to the Quote to Smoke podcast. Leave a comment too. Disagreement is welcome here. We talk, we listen. That's the point. No filter, just fire.